Okay, so we are live now, and we are together with Tony Vays, who is a content creator, derivatives trader, and opinion leader in crypto space and blockchain space.
Hey everyone, Ivan, thank you so much for the invite. Happy to be on, and thank you to everyone that is watching this live. We are, I'm not sure where the main audience is as far as time-wise, as far as it is based on time. Oh, there it is. So I had a wrong background set. But thank you for joining. And today we're going to talk about markets. We're going to talk specifically about the concept of what is and isn't considered manipulation, at least in my eyes. I don't have slides prepared, so we'll just chat. And if there are any questions, I'm sure Ivan will be happy to interrupt and ask those questions. So a lot of people in the crypto space always blame manipulation for their trades. In reality, that is actually not the case. I don't believe there is that much manipulation that goes on in the crypto space, but that's because my definition of the word manipulation is different than a lot of other people. You see, guys, to me, manipulation is something intentional and malicious and somehow has an advantage against your trades. What a lot of people view manipulation is someone with a large amount of money moving the market and making a trade that has a significant impact on the market. While that could be said as someone manipulating the market, I believe that as long as that person has the same playing field, and they're playing by the same rules as you, and they just happen to have more money, they are free to move the price of the underlying asset as much as they like. You want to put yourself in that person's position. If you had the amount of money that that person has, and you had the ability to move the market, would you consider yourself a manipulator of the price? And the answer is no. You are making the best financial decision for yourself. And if you happen to have more money than the other people at the table, you have the ability to move that market. It is no different than someone playing poker. And if someone is at the poker game and they have 5 times more chips than anyone else at the poker table, as long as that person plays by the same rules, they have earned the position to push other players around because they have a lot more money than the other guy. So this is what you have to consider. Now, if the exchange is somehow providing information to a person that you don't get, that is true manipulation. That is an advantage in the market. So if there is an advantage in the market by some players over others, that is an unfair advantage. And I'm sure that happens in the crypto space as well, but no serious evidence of that has presented itself in front of me on the major exchanges. If it happens on a small, not so liquid exchange, then you shouldn't be trading there. That's why you want to trade on exchanges that have the most amount of liquidity. Now, even though that you might be trading on an exchange with the most amount of liquidity, you really want to keep in mind that even the most liquid exchanges could run into problems. I'm going to go over to screen share. Once I have permission to go over to screen share. BitMax has been accused of doing a lot of shady stuff, but again, at the end of the day, I have not seen it.
Yeah, you can share the screen right now, Tony, if you want. Yeah.
Perfect. On this day when Bitcoin recently hit its lows, a lot of people said that BitMax exchange failed and it shut down. And it's true that it did get shut down. Lots of people suspecting that they shut it down on purpose because they were just liquidating everybody's positions. Now, they have put out the report that it wasn't them and that they were just overloaded and it broke. I tend to side with BitMEX on this, but a lot of people also speculate that by them shutting down, that's what prevented Bitcoin from falling under $2,000 because it was just going to keep liquidating people's positions. And this is a good lesson in the fact that no matter how liquid the crypto exchange is, it can still suffer severe problems, whether whether you believe it was on purpose or not. And this goes to show you that if you're going to be trading in the crypto space, you have to be prepared for a lot of immaturity. You have to be ready for a lot of things that you don't expect on a professional exchange in the traditional markets that are regulated. That's also why I prefer to trade the traditional market and not the crypto market, because the space is too immature. The regulatory landscape is still uncertain, and the tools and the resources that these crypto exchanges have are nowhere near as advanced as the resources that traditional exchanges have. Now, what everyone usually asks me to do is talk about the price of Bitcoin. And I'm sure a lot of you have watched my videos before and are curious about the price of Bitcoin. At the moment, we are looking at the daily chart, and we are leaning bearish here. We are getting close on some of my counts for a potential bottom, and we have lots of support with moving averages in the low $8,000 range. At the moment, I'm honestly expecting Bitcoin to fall a little bit lower. It is possible we can stay in this triangle and break out. But at the moment, I'm still leaning towards probably lower prices. And my weekly view on the price of Bitcoin is that we are going to get stuck between 6,000 and 10,000 for the majority of the year. I have been talking about this downtrend for a long time. I do believe that the bottom is in. I do not believe we're going to go to 3,800 again. I do not believe we're even going to go to 5,300 again, or at least not on a weekly closing basis. But I am still looking for a bigger pullback before an eventual breakout. Hey, Ivan, do we have any questions? I would love to make this interactive with your live audience, whoever is still up.
Not yet. So you can continue. Yeah.
Throw in your questions because it's really difficult to talk about manipulation of exchanges because we are just not privileged to that information. I can talk about a million other things as well, but this topic of manipulation is important because a lot of people just blame manipulation for their bad trades. The best way to avoid being a victim to someone with a large amount of money or being a victim to bad exchange practices is to limit your leverage and limit the amount of risk you're taking on any given trade. There are also these candles, something like this, where this is a weekly candle, but if we go to a lower level time frame, I refer to them as a Darth Maul candle. We haven't had one of these in a little while, but that's when stops get taken out from both sides of the market. I'm trying to find one on a 4-hour time scale that basically swings up and down. It usually happens more so on the daily time scale. There was one very famous one back in the early 2017 days on the daily chart. I can go over to it. And these are another type of, these are the candles you really want to try and limit how badly they can wipe your positions. Here's an example of such a candle. It's what we call a Darth Maul candle. I remember this happening. I was still trading at the time, but I was not trading on this day. This was a very important day. This was March 10th, 2017. And these are the candles you want to watch out for, because this candle made a new all-time high right there at $1,350. That was a new all-time high. And then later that day, the price of Bitcoin fell all the way down to $980, $975 to be exact. That is a huge difference. That is almost a 40% drop in the price of Bitcoin in a matter of hours. Okay. And then the next day, we were back to normal. So what happened on this day? This was the day that the US regulators, the SEC, announced that they were not going to be launching a Bitcoin ETF in the near future. And that was the first time the SEC was going to make a public statement about a potential for a Bitcoin ETF. Now, going into this day, I had been saying for weeks, if not months, that the ETF is not, and Bitcoin is not going to happen. But going into this day, a lot of people were still 50-50. A lot of people were thinking that there was a chance that the ETF was going to get approved by the SEC. Now, we are now more than 3 years later, and the ETF still has not been approved. But earlier that day, a lot of people, or one very rich person, thought that the ETF could get approved. And they bought a bunch of Bitcoin, spiking the price up. Now, those that were short Bitcoin obviously lost their positions and their stops got hit. And then the moment the announcement came, the price crashed and wiped out all of the other people that were now entering long trades because Bitcoin was breaking out, thinking that the announcement had already been made. And there's really no way to avoid this, because whether you were long or short from the middle of this day, you got your position in a lot of trouble. I don't know any traders from that day that I was in contact with that made money this day. Everyone pretty much got wiped out. So you want to be careful. And the question is, was this market manipulation? Did someone do this on purpose? Well, we don't know, and we probably never will know. But even if someone did do it on purpose, as long as they played by the rules, as long as they did not have an unfair advantage over you, as long as they were risking their own capital and moving the price up and then crashing the price down, they are within their right to do it, as long as they played by the rules. So this is the one thing you need to keep in mind before you get upset over manipulation or screaming that manipulation took you out of a trade. All right, Ivan, any questions?
Not yet.
All right, guys. Hey, throw in your questions. How many people are watching us right now on YouTube? Do you have any questions for me, Ivan?
Not yet at this moment.
All right. I can talk about the price a little bit more. It's whatever you guys like, but there's really not much else to say about manipulation, because we really don't have the data, and exchanges will not admit to it, because then they would be potentially criminally liable for manipulating the price, because exchanges are supposed to be totally neutral.
Yeah, sure, fully agree with this. And you can cover any other topic you would like to cover, so except of like market manipulation. So what's your view, for example, on the recent developments with Telegram and with recent Bitcoin halving? So we can talk about this.
So the recent Bitcoin halving, that went really well. We witnessed price rise into the halving, which happened before. And a lot of people expected the price to continue to rise. But as you can see, what's been happening since the halving, the price actually has been pulling back. The halving took place on May 11th. We dropped pretty hard that day, and it's now been a good 2 weeks since May 11th, and the price is approximately where it was during that day. So I think it will hang here for a while. It is going to become a little bit dangerous for inefficient miners. I think a lot of inefficient miners will go out of business over the next few months. And once the inefficient miners go out of business, it should be much better. The supply of new Bitcoin coming out to the market continues to decrease. And at the moment, that's not a factor. But towards the end of the year, that's going to start becoming a factor once again. So I am anticipating the price of Bitcoin to rise, but not until the end of the year. As for the Telegram dropping their token, that was actually unfortunate. As a lot of you that watch my channel know, I am not a fan of any ICO, including the Telegram ICO. I believe that utility tokens don't actually have any utility. I believe all these utility tokens is just a made-up reason to be able to print your own money, sell it to unqualified investors, and fund your operation, whether that operation makes sense or profitable or isn't. So if I had been asked about the utility and the potential future of the Telegram project, I would say it is completely useless and it will never ever be decentralized. You just can't build decentralization. It's not how decentralization works, and that's not how it happens. However, I felt that the SEC had 1,000 other big names they could have went after and left Telegram alone for now, because Telegram tried to do this as honestly as possible. And there were hundreds, if not thousands, of other projects that deserved to be taken down. Also, the Telegram, I guess the CEO or the Telegram project company, they didn't want to fight the SEC, which was also disappointing. They should have put up a bigger fight because the SEC didn't have as strong of a case as they could have against other companies. And now what the SEC can do is they can use that decision by Telegram not fighting in order to take down lots of other projects, which again, I believe that lots of those projects deserve to be taken down. But at the same time, I don't want the government to overreach on their jurisdiction. So it's disappointing the way it really happened with Telegram. But at the end of the day, I don't believe any of these tokens have any utility. It's just something made up by the creators of these tokens in order to try and avoid regulation.
Yeah, right. Fully agree. The Telegram also was one of the hopes of the community when it comes with 300, 400 million users of Telegram app, the mass adoption, and right now it's stopped. So you know what I mean.
Yeah. And well, as far as the economics go, I've been saying for a long time that in order for Bitcoin to reach mass adoption, we are going to need a major economic catalyst. Now, I think the most likely major economic catalyst is going to be the breakup of the European common currency. So you really want to keep your eye out for that. If a country like Italy or Spain or Greece leave the Eurozone and they give up on the euro, whether these countries get kicked out, though that's unlikely, or the country just leaves and votes out the way the UK decided to vote out of the European Union. if a Eurozone country that is on the euro decides to leave and go back to their old currency, that would be a gigantic catalyst for everyone in Europe to start looking at Bitcoin. Because if one country might leave, their country could be next. And a lot of people will see the Bitcoin as a safer haven than the transition from the euro back to their own common currency. I think that's the biggest catalyst this decade to drive Bitcoin to unbelievable highs. Another major catalyst is the elimination of physical cash. You want to watch government laws to eliminate physical cash. Once again, this is more likely to happen in Europe than other countries. Could also happen in China. China and WeChat and the monitoring of every single transaction. So the elimination of physical cash, it's unlikely to happen in the United States because the physical cash of the United States is kind of used around the world, and the US government is conscious of that as well. So the elimination of physical cash is another major potential driver of into Bitcoin. And the final one is increased taxes. Increased taxes is very big. And with this global economic slowdown and the shutdown of the economy, a lot of smaller regions will find themselves in need of money. And the one thing that the government loves to tax that people can't just move is real estate. So I think real estate is going to be problematic because you can't move real estate. So taxes on real estate might rise, which would slightly lower property values. And if it lowers property values, people might not see investing in property or a home as critical, and they would consider other types of investment for the long term. And again, Bitcoin provides a very good option. So you want to keep an eye on those three things that would potentially drive Bitcoin to new highs.
Great. Yeah, agree. Okay, I think it's coming to the end of our session at this moment. So yeah, we don't have any questions right now from users. And yeah, thank you very much, Tony. So we will share the video and video recording on YouTube so that people can see and can watch. So yeah, thank you so much for participating.
Awesome. Thank you, Ivan. Happy to be a part of it. Bye-bye.
Thank you.